Supergirl number 26, written by Tony Bedard, art by Yildiray Sinar. So, last time was Krypton Returns, or Return of Krypton, or whatever that arc was called. Frankly, doesn't matter. The real last time that you need to worry about is the Villains Month issue of Lobo, where we were introduced to new edgy 2000s Lobo, who his sole purpose is that he's hunting down 90s Lobo, because 90s Lobo took his name, and this is the real Lobo. So we pick up in Bangkok on planet Earth, and new Lobo, who I'm just going to call Lobo from now on, is talking to somebody over like a comm system saying like, hey, Riala, we've got a problem because you gave me some bad info. You said that old Lobo was here, but he ain't. So what's going on, man? Don't make me come kill you. And Riala, who's this alien on the other side of like the universe, is like, hey, yo, Lobo, look, no need to threaten me. I thought that I gave you good information. Cool? Like, great. If that's not the case, I have another thing that could help you. There is a woman on Earth. She is solid. She'll know where your target is. So I will give you her information and we'll be good, right? And he's just like, yeah, totally. But why didn't you say so before? He's be like, well, she isn't really easy to reach and she's barely even human. So as Lobo is walking away from this like thing he's caused in Bangkok, where there's a guy who's running like a brothel, I guess. The guy picks up the gun, is going to shoot Lobo, and Lobo turns around, whips it out of his hand, throws the gun over to one of the sex workers there, and it's like, yeah, I left you alive specifically as a mercy. I could have killed you like all of your other employees here, but instead I'll leave that up to whatever your workers here think. Maybe you've treated them well, maybe not. They'll be the ones who decide. And as he walks out, the sex workers just unload on this guy. So at that point, we cut over to the center of the Earth, the block, the home of Dr. Shea Veritas, and we see she is running some big machine or something about God particles. Does not matter. An intruder alarm goes off, and we see her take off her helmet, and Supergirl shows up, and it's like, hey, Dr. Veritas, we need to talk. And she's like, hey, Supergirl, I'm not Dr. Shea Veritas, okay? And Supergirl's like, what? I can literally see, I can see your molecular level, and you are definitely Shea Veritas. But then all of the people in the room start taking off their helmets, and they're all Shea Veritas. And they say like, oh, I'm Dr. Ingrid Hansen. I'm Thomas Nakamura. And she's like, I'm sorry. So you're not clones. You're all just on the genetic level, Dr. Veritas. And then the real one walks in saying, okay, hey, everybody, don't worry about this. I'll take care of this. Let's talk to Supergirl now. And Supergirl's like, what did you do to your staff, man? And she's like, don't worry about it. I'm sure they'll come up later. Anyway, hey, didn't you have kryptonite poisoning the last time I saw you? And Supergirl's like, yeah, that's kind of why I'm here. Could you do a check on me? So they run some tests, and she's just like, yeah, no, you're cured. There's no more kryptonite poisoning. What happened to you? And she's like, I mean, something happened when I was away for a few weeks, and Veritas is like, I'm sorry, could you give like a few more details? And she's like, right. And so she takes a deep breath and she goes over the entirety of the book up till this point, 25 issues. She's like, so I escaped from my planet, and then I came here, and then I fought against my cousin, and then there was this whole thing with Silver Banshee that we're not going to talk about, and then there was Hell, and then I met Power Girl, and then I went up into space, and I think I remember something about a cyborg Superman, but regardless, I don't remember it that much. Then we did Return of Krypton, and now I'm here. And Supergirl's like, or Veritas is like, okay, all right, I guess. So we cut over to Lobo. He's flying to Antarctica. And he's like, yep, there are the coordinates. You're not going to see anything because it's down at the center of the Earth, but this is where you can get to it. And Lobo's like, I'm sorry, why is it down at the center of the Earth? And Riala explains, like, oh, there was some weird quantum something, and Superman essentially saved the block from like disappearing from this world together, but the consequence is it is now stuck at the middle of the Earth, which I don't know if that's canon. I don't remember that happening, but regardless, it's here. So at that point, Lobo says like, all right, look, I'll go ahead, I'll check this out, but if it ain't a good lead, I'm still coming after you. And Riala hangs up and just like, well, if that's the case, I'm going to give her some heads up. So back with the block, Veritas is like, well, you're welcome here whenever you want. I really think you could use a friend right now because it sounds like you got some emotional stuff going on. And Supergirl just starts breaking down crying, being like, I went over to Silver Banshee, Shaban's house, and she has a new roommate. And she replaced me so quick. And even then she immediately follows it up with like, I know she needed to pay rent, and that's probably about that, but like, it still hurt, So at that point, Riala gets on the phone with Veritas, and Veritas is like, hey, Riala, what's up? Why are you calling me? And she basically says, hey, I sent Lobo to you. Just give him whatever information or else you're going to be a target. And she's like, what the hell's a Lobo? I don't care. Like, I can take out one man. He's like, yeah, but this guy's a Sarnian. And immediately she's like, crap. All right, everyone shut down this place, get security up. Supergirl's like, what's a Zarnian? And he's like, well, it's this nearly extinct race to the last of their kind. And she's like, I'm a nearly extinct race who's the last of my kind. Let me go talk to him. Maybe I can get him to like not attack. And Veritas is like, all right. I mean, it's good enough as any. So Lobo walks into a cave, finds a teleporter pad, but then showing up on the teleporter pad is Supergirl, who just says like, hey, stop right there. And Lobo's like, I'm sorry, what is this? What's going on? And Supergirl flies up and is just like, look, have you ever heard of Krypton? I'm a Kryptonian. We both are the last of our kind. We shouldn't have fighting and stuff like that. And Lobo just stops her, just puts a finger up and saying like, honey, what you don't know about me could fill an entire planet. You seriously are overestimating this. So I am just going to talk to your boss, and you need to get out of my way. And so he throws a net at her to take her out of the way. And says like, that's an indestructible net. You'll be here for a while. And then immediately she breaks out of it. And Lobo's like, ooh, okay, you're stronger than expected. And then Supergirl just tackles him out of the cave, and Lobo throws a kick. Supergirl's surprised that it hurts, and she's like, well, fine, let me give you some of mine. And so she punches Lobo as hard as she can, and she sees him go through like multiple mountains. Finally, she catches up with him, sees that his neck is twisted like 180 degrees backwards, and she's like, oh, Jesus, I thought you could take it. I didn't mean to kill you. Oh, gosh. So, new Lobo's dead. Didn't have to deal with any of that. He's just dead. I'm so happy about it. Of course he's not dead. Of course he's coming back. I mean, it's okay. I here's the thing. I know that Supergirl is written to be like an emotionally fragile teenage girl who has like a lot of issues she's working through, but however true it may be, it still frustrates me, that panel of saying like, Siobhan has a new roommate and she didn't even talk to me about it. And I'm like, I get it. She's upset. She feels like she has no place to go. But like, there's a reason, there's multiple reasons, but there is a specific reason as well as to why you don't want to talk to like teenage girls like that, because it's infuriating, the things that are like so important like that. Anyway, all in all, I like this issue. I think it's funny. I think it's setting up some good stuff. I don't care about Lobo, but I think the writing in this is actually better than the writing in his first appearance in that Villains Month issue. So I'm okay with it here. He did still say at one point the sorry, not sorry. Throw that out. Stop that. I never want to hear that again. But beyond that, it's a fine enough issue. And if this is the next stage for Supergirl, whatever she's going to be doing, I'm okay with it. I think it's a good enough setup. So we'll see where it goes from here. All in all, I'll give it a 7.5. I enjoyed it. It was a good issue.